Hello everybody, welcome to Snyder's Inc. And today we got another faction video, and this is 5 scammers and fraudsters who were exposed. We're gonna get right into this. Ladies and gentlemen, hit the like button, hit subscribe, and comment thing down below. Let's go.
Nothing is quite as upsetting as finding out you've been scammed. Sure, worse things can happen, but it's the blatant betrayal accompanying a fraud that really makes us see red. However, justice is sweet, and today we're bringing you 5 diabolical deceivers who got their just desserts.
The sweetheart scammer Ruben Sarpong.
Although it's become increasingly common over the 21st century, online dating still merits a little bit of caution thanks to the existence of those like 38-year-old Ruben Sarpong. From 2016 to 2018, he and a small group...
Well, I don't end up dating people. Online dating doesn't work for me. No one ever gets... I never get anywhere with anybody, so... I've given up on dating. Give up on it.
Group of co-conspirators fleeced over 40 women through various romance scams on several different dating sites like Match.com, Plenty of Fish, and OurTime.com. Essentially, Sarpong or one of his accomplices would claim to be United States military personnel stationed overseas. Sarpong was actually in Millville, New Jersey, while his collaborators resided in Ghana, Sarpong's country of origin. After matching with different women and establishing a romantic relationship with them, Sarpong would then begin asking his marks for large amounts of cash. He often purported to be stationed in Syria, working with employees of the U.S. State Department, and he would pose as both real and fictional diplomats to sell his story. For example, one of his accomplices impersonated Earl Litzenberger, who at the time was a diplomat stationed in Azerbaijan. Frequently, he would claim that his unit had recovered a large number of gold bars and that money was needed to ship the bars home to the United States. He promised his victims that their money would be returned to them once the gold arrived stateside.
That is insane that anyone would fall for that, because there was no way that would be how that would go. There was no way, under any circumstances, if a U.S. agreed upon military group found anything, there was no way they would ask you to ask random civilians for the money to get them there. Especially gold fucking bars. I can't believe people fell for that. Listen, I have had some people try to scare me using online dating. They all fail. They all fail. Because I don't bother. I can see through your shit. I've only been scammed once. Only once. I won't go into the one time. It was very, very sad and very embarrassing. But I've only been scammed once. It's not for me, it's for enough, but not super lot. So.
Throughout his scam, Sarpong received money in 13 different bank accounts, though some of the women also sent personal checks, cashier's checks, or money orders using services like Western Union. Sarpong...
How did he... Look. I don't want to say people deserve to be scammed, because they don't. But there are some stories I hear scammers tell people that I'm like, how in any right mind did you believe that was the case? Any little thought process can make you realize how stupid and how BS that is. I literally can't believe people fell for this. I can't. What was wrong with people?
Would then wire funds to the other members of his crime ring back in Ghana and use however much he pleased of the stolen cash to fund his lifestyle. he bought property in Ghana and showed off expensive cars, clothing, and jewelry on his social media sites. Additionally, despite receiving over $1.4 million in taxable income from his various romance scams, Sarpong paid absolutely no income tax and even collected Medicare and food stamps for part of 2018 and 2019,
This guy's insane.
abusing a system meant to support those struggling to make ends meet. Now, though thievery of this magnitude is certainly nefarious, Sarpong's crimes became even more detestable when a victim took her own life. One of his conspirators struck up a romantic relationship with her, claiming that he had over $12 million worth of gold in Syria and was working with a diplomat named Alwyn Roth Liss to have the bars shipped to the U.S. After receiving a falsified airplane ticket that made it seem like Liss would be coming to the United States very soon, the woman sent the requested funds to 2 different bank accounts over a 3-week span.
This is Now, this woman took her own life because she realized she got scammed. And what I have a feeling happened is she was so embarrassed she got scammed that she did it. I mean, there's a story we got Mr. Ball when someone got so embarrassed they were catfished, they took their own life. So this woman can't be criticized. But this story is probably the least believable scam story I've ever heard, and yet he got a bunch of people with it, and I just don't get it.
By the end, she had sent Sarpong a whopping $93,710. The woman's daughter notes that the last thing her mother said to her was that she was headed to Baltimore Washington International Airport to meet Liss and the gold. Obviously, the fictitious diplomat never showed up, and she tragically ended her life the next day. All in all, it's estimated that Sarpong stole anywhere from $1.75 to over $2 million during the years he was active. It is further believed that $450,000 of that sum was funneled to his co-conspirators in Ghana, while the rest was likely used to fund Sarpong's lavish lifestyle. He was frequently seen on social media with luxury goods and stacks of cash. These days, Sarpong has traded his high life for a lowly cell in federal prison as he serves his 14-year sentence that comes with an additional 3 years of supervision following his release. He was ultimately charged with conspiracy to commit wire fraud, money laundering, and tax evasion. He's also been ordered to pay 30 of his victims roughly $3 million in restitution, fulfill his hefty tax debt to the United States Internal Revenue Service, pay over $4,000 to the New Jersey Department of Health and Human Services, and over $6,000 to the New Jersey Department of Agriculture. The payments are meant to reimburse these government agencies for the Medicare and food assistance he fraudulently received. At the time of recording, none of Sarpong's accomplices have ever been named or charged, and it does not appear that there's an ongoing case against any of them. It's easy to get caught up in love, but when you don't know the person on the other end of the computer, it's definitely best to proceed with caution.
The Tumblr trickster. Oh god.
In the early morning hours of December 28, 2014, 17-year-old Leela Alcorn was walking along Interstate 71 near South Lebanon, Ohio. Tragically, during her walk, she was struck by a tractor trailer and died at the scene. It was later revealed in a post on Leela's Tumblr blog that her death was intentional, with Leela stating, "Please don't be sad. It's for the better. The life I would have lived isn't worth living." Ohio State Police conducted their own investigation as well, concluding that Leela's death was indeed self-inflicted. Leela, who was transgender, had many difficulties in her home life. The child of staunch Christians, her parents were not exactly accepting of her new identity, and she struggled with depression. This soon caught the eyes and hearts of many activists who saw Leela's fate as symbolic of the difficulties transgender youth face in the United States. Unfortunately, one of these advocates turned out to be a trickster in disguise. A few weeks after Leela's death in January 2015, at the height of Tumblr's popularity, another user of the platform and a follower of Leela's blog decided to capitalize on her untimely passing. A 20-year-old posting under the name Zubat set up a website and a GoFundMe page entitled The Leela Project. It stated on the website that she intended to raise money.
What a cunt. What a cunt. For you to use the innocent death of a 17-year-old transgender girl who had go through mental problems, depression, took her own life by way of getting hit by a semi-truck. And for you to use that to gain money for yourself is almost sickening. Literally is sickening.
Money to supply transgender people in situations like Leela's with supplies to support their transition, like makeup, clothing, or binders. Accepting cash donations via GoFundMe or a PayPal link, she also called for physical donations of clothing, accessories, and toiletries, providing an address in San Bernardino, California, where they could be sent. As a side note, Zubat has gone by several names online over the years, like Non-Binary Fruitcake, Alex Miller, Alex and Alexis Urigoyen, Alex Zapatitla, Kiko, and Anne, to name a few. For the rest of this video, we'll refer to her as Alex. At first, the Leela Project seemed wonderful, and with Alex's large following on Tumblr, it quickly gained visibility. Many of the platform's users, themselves teens or young adults like Leela and Alex, were enthusiastic, and she managed to amass roughly 6.
This one I'm not surprised with. She heartlessly used the death of a person to get death of a person she didn't know to get financial back, to try to get scam money from people. In this situation, I mean, people aren't gonna believe that someone would do such a heinous thing, so they're gonna donate money believing it would have to be for a good cause, because no one would do such a heinous thing. But it turns out they are heartless people, especially this. Well, I'll keep calling her, because I have no reason not to be. I am completely. This makes me sick to my stomach that someone would do this. I have no respect or anything. I'm not gonna treat her with any sort of respect, because she doesn't deserve that.
$16,000 on GoFundMe alone. However, by the spring, the legitimacy of both Alex and the Leela Project was called into question. Not many people were receiving the aid the charity claimed to provide, and the general feeling of skepticism deepened when it was discovered that the Leela Project was not a registered charity or nonprofit in California. Around this time, a new Tumblr blog appeared titled Exposing Alex. Run by anonymous administrators, it seemed to be dedicated to pointing out inconsistencies and flaws with both Alex and the Leela Project. They posted screenshots of conversations Alex was allegedly having with people, comments she made on her social media posts, and information from people on Tumblr who supposedly knew her in the real world. She was accused of lying about multiple aspects of her life, including her job and her ethnicity. The Exposing Alex page provided evidence in the form of Alex's comments that showed her hinting at being a sex worker, a nurse, working at NASA, and training to be a paleontologist.
You working all four at the same time? You're a sex worker, a nurse, working with NASA, and an paleontologist? You plan to do all four of those at the same time? Is that how great you are? Oh, that is so stupid. Why would you say that? That is so easily be able to be disproven. Why would you do that?
All while being just barely past her teen years. However, when Alex was interviewed with the International Business Times in February 2015 about the Leela Project, she mentioned that she was a student working towards her associate degree in healthcare administration. When it came to the Leela Project, she was accused of stealing the funds for herself instead of using them for her stated charitable goals.
Of course.
Mostly, the Tumblr page painted a picture of Alex as an unreliable, pathological liar who could not be trusted. It is a bit unclear what is fact and fiction, since most of what remains available to see online currently is hearsay or only found via the Wayback Machine. Not long after Alex launched the charity, she began to complain on her Tumblr page about her bank accounts or PayPal getting hacked. Additionally, although money was coming in, it didn't appear that many packages were going out. The folks behind exposing Alex argued that the donation should have been enough to get packages to more people, even with the fees imposed by GoFundMe. At the same time, Alex pushed back, arguing that people didn't understand how much everything plus shipping cost. She also acknowledged that she wasn't a properly registered charity, but alleged that the fees to establish herself legally were too onerous. Though, as her critics correctly pointed out, the $16,000 she received should have been sufficient to cover fees that were likely less than $1,000, so the Leela Project could be legitimate. Alex denied running a scam, saying that she was simply a young student who got in over her head, unable to keep up with the monetary and time demands that the project required to be successful. There are also...
I don't believe a word this chick says. There is nothing this chick has said or done to make me believe. Sorry, I swear in the reflection I saw something move. I'm losing my mind. Anyways, back to what I was saying. Sorry, I can sometimes see things. It's just that it messes with my head. As I said, there's nothing this girl has said that would make me take anything she says seriously. I wouldn't believe this chick if a tongue with those eyes. Nothing.
So unsubstantiated claims that say she was spending a lot of cash during the spring and summer of 2015, including a lavish trip to New York City. But whether funds from the Leela Project were used to support her lifestyle remains unknown. The Leela Project was shuttered in the same year it began, supposedly due to lack of monetary support needed to continue. And its Tumblr page, Alex's personal Facebook and Twitter accounts, as well as the Exposing Alex page, have all been deleted. It appears that she is now working as a tattoo model in Los Angeles, California. Let us know in the comments what you think. Was she just an overwhelmed kid or a sophisticated scammer?
She was an opportunistic scammer. I wouldn't say she was sophisticated because she wasn't sophisticated enough to make so no one noticed. She was just optimistic. Opportunistic. That's the word. Opportunistic on the opportunity of seeing this transgender girl's death and thought she could use that to get money. I can't just call one Belle Gibson.
By all appearances, Belle Gibson of Melbourne, Australia was the picture of health. With a curated and polished Instagram feed and the followers to match, Gibson was one of the early online wellness influencers in the 2010s. But there was one problem. She was sick, really sick. Gibson had cancer, and not just any cancer, brain cancer. However, she had good news to share with her fans. While traditional treatments like chemotherapy had failed her, Gibson had managed to mitigate her devastating disease through a combination of a healthy diet, oxygen therapy, colonic irrigations, and Indian Ayurvedic medicine. She was particularly militant about her diet, telling her followers that she had cut out gluten, alcohol, processed food, dairy, and meat. She also stressed the benefits of whole foods like avocados and berries. Seemingly eager to share her groundbreaking knowledge with the world, Gibson launched her app, The Whole Pantry, in August 2013. Filled with recipes and lifestyle guides, Gibson charged around $3 per download. The app was downloaded 200,000 times during its first month, and subsequently named Apple's Best Food and Drink app of 2013. A deal with Penguin Books followed, and in October 2014, Gibson's cookbook, also named The Whole Pantry, hit the shelves in Australia. By the early months of 2015, Gibson's sales of the app and the cookbook combined had reached $1 million. Impressed by the app's performance as well as Gibson's popularity, Apple approached her in the fall of 2014 and worked with her to make the whole pantry a pre-installed option on their brand new Apple Watch, set to launch in the spring of 2015. Belle continued to share her medical struggles on her blog, which was also named The Whole Pantry. She revealed that although her healthy lifestyle kept her cancer from spreading, it wasn't fully eradicated. However, her health claims were starting to raise some eyebrows. Belle's story was constantly shifting. In her book, she claimed that her cancer hadn't grown in 2 years, but in interviews and social media posts, she discussed cancer spreading to her blood, spleen, uterus, kidneys, and liver. She talked about experiencing other medical scares, like a stroke, and a heart operation where she momentarily died on the operating table. However, she bore no scars.
Woman, that just ain't true, is it? There was no way that all would happen and no one would know but you. There was no way that would be true and not a human would know but you. No damn way.
From her supposed operation, and could not produce any concrete evidence or even name the doctors who had treated her. Aside from her shaky health claims, Gibson...
Hey, in straight defense, that's not... I went to dental surgery. I couldn't fucking tell you a single human who freaking did on me. I didn't ask. So I can't get mad that she didn't know anything. I don't remember a single human being. I don't remember any nurse, any doctor, and the surgeon. I don't remember anyone who I interacted with that day by name. So I can't get mad at her for that and say that proves she's fake. Every other evidence, yes, but her not remembering the names, I can't say anything to because neither do I.
Was also increasingly scrutinized for her supposed charitable contributions. She often bragged that the whole pantry financially supported numerous causes like children with cancer or health care for mothers in developing countries. By her estimates in 2014, Gibson said that the whole pantry had given $300,000 to various charities. On Instagram, she proudly stated that she worked with...
Wait, go back. Fine related to numerous faults claimed by the wellness blogger who promised $3,000 donations, but was found to have made only 3 donations totaling $10,800. Jesus Christ.
To various charities. On Instagram, she proudly stated that she worked with 20 different philanthropies and donated 25% of her company's profits. But soon enough, charities Gibson had named as recipients of her generosity came forward saying that neither she nor the whole pantry had given them any money. In a week...
Why would you not think that would happen? Why would you not think that if you started naming actual charities that you didn't plan to use, that you said you're going to use, they would not easily go to them and be like, yeah, we never got any money from you? What the fuck are you thinking?
Long campaign for the Bumi Sehat Foundation that supports safe childbirth in Indonesia, Gibson purportedly raised $2,800, though not a dime of that cash seems to have made it to the charity. As one spokeswoman for the foundation told the Irish Times, "I can say with confidence that we never received a donation from Belle Gibson." The controversy deepened as the media caught wind of Gibson's discrepancies, and just before her cookbook was due to launch in the UK and the US, questions began surfacing about the legitimacy of her illness. As a result, she began to slowly retract her health claims. Initially saying that parts of her cancer were a misdiagnosis, she still adhered to her story of using her dietary methods to fight off a brain tumor.
This is insane. So suddenly now she didn't have cancer. Suddenly, after she was exposed to that, oh wait a minute, no, I didn't have cancer, I was a misdiagnosis. I suddenly don't have cancer now. But now I just had a tumor that I fought off using vegetables.
Yet rumors about her health continued to swirl.
Yep.
The media kept digging for an answer, as the public wondered if Gibson was for real or a fraud. Finally, it appeared that Gibson could handle the scrutiny no longer. In April 2015, she came clean in an interview with Australian Women's Weekly, saying, "No, None of it is true. I'm still jumping between what I think I know and what is reality. I have lived it, and I'm not really there yet. It was all fake. She had never had any kind of cancer, let alone...
This woman is fucking insane. Pure definition of insanity. What the fuck was she thinking? Someone tell me.
alone a brain tumor. Furthermore, it was also revealed that she was only 23, several years younger than she had been publicly claiming. Immediately after this revelation, her app and her cookbook were both pulled, while large businesses like Apple, that had happily basked in the glow of her fame, quietly distanced themselves. People from Gibson's past came forward and said that the young woman had always had trouble with the truth, and that she was not at all trustworthy. Gibson's scam had real-life consequences for many living with chronic illnesses, particularly cancer. Kylie Willie, who suffered from lymphoma, turned her back on chemotherapy due to Gibson's flawed guidance. She and other victims felt betrayed and humiliated, wondering how someone could lie about something as devastating as cancer. Gibson now seems to have somewhat quietly faded away, with her story appearing periodically in the media. Though she hasn't been charged with any jail time, Gibson does owe over $500,000 in unpaid fines, penalties, and interest. Her home was raided by the police in 2020 and again in 2021 in an attempt to collect the money. It's unknown at this time if any property was seized in the raids to mitigate her ballooning debt. It just goes to show that a social media following and an aesthetically pleasing profile can fool anyone, from the average Joe to Apple.
The disgraced Dr. Francisco Patino.
With the opioid crisis raging across the Midwestern United States, it seems unconscionable that someone in the healthcare space, especially a doctor, would contribute to the problem. Unfortunately, that is exactly what 66-year-old Dr. Francisco Patino was up to during the 2010s. Known also as Frank, Patino operated a medical clinic in Livonia, Michigan, just outside of Detroit, and caught the eye of the Federal Bureau of Investigation when he billed Medicare for a large amount of pricey spinal injections. In fact, from 2012 to 2017, Patino performed more of these injections than any other provider in the entire nation. These injections, which were either facet joint or nerve block injections, are incredibly expensive, and authorities were suspicious. Why would so many people in Livonia need this particular procedure? An investigation revealed that Patino was trading these lucrative injections for opioid prescriptions, including the deadly drug fentanyl. Many of his patients did not require this kind of medical procedure, but he would threaten to withhold prescriptions for their painkillers unless they complied with his wishes. As a result,
Wait, hold on, wait. Why would he want forcibly all of these people to get a thing in their back for? I don't understand why he would want everyone to get this thing. I don't get it.
From 2016 to 2017, Patino ended up prescribing more 30-milligram oxycodone pills than every other doctor in Michigan. During those 2 years alone, he prescribed 2.2 million pills, some of which have been traced to illegal drug sales on the street. It was further revealed that Patino had established an illegal relationship with at least one diagnostic laboratory. Whenever Patino had to send a patient's sample like blood or urine to be analyzed, he would send it to this particular laboratory in exchange for financial kickbacks. With his gradually amassing wealth, Patino splashed cash on cars, jewelry, and travel. Relatively muscular and fit, he was seen on social media wrestling alligators and showing off his physique. He also used his ill-gotten gains to fund a venture he dubbed the Patino Diet. He developed a diet program, a lifestyle and wellness book, and even paid various mixed martial arts fighters to promote his pet project. In 2021, Patino was convicted of conspiracy to commit healthcare fraud and wire fraud, 2 counts of healthcare fraud, 1 count of conspiracy to defraud the United States, 1 count of conspiracy to commit money laundering, and 1 count of money laundering. His $100 million scam was one of the largest healthcare scams in U.S. history, though he was certainly not alone in his crimes. In the Michigan and Ohio areas alone, 12 doctors, including Patino, were all arrested for similar crimes around the same time, for a grand total of $250 million in fraudulent billings. He is still awaiting sentencing, but the maximum penalty for his crimes is life in prison.
Oh, this doesn't sound good.
It seemed like Nomia Rosemary Ndlovu was cursed. A policewoman at the Tembisa police station in Johannesburg, South Africa, between 2012 and 2018, 6 of her friends and family members mysteriously died. Luckily for her, Nomia did get...
That sounds about the definition of murder. All I would need to hear to fully not think she's the suspect. 6 of her family and friends, 6 people she knows has mysteriously died. You're my #1 suspect there.
Get some financial compensation for her losses. First was her cousin, witness Madala Homu, who was found beaten to death in Olifantsfontein, a small town 40 minutes to the north of Johannesburg. Nomia received roughly $7,500 from insurance following witness's death. The second was her sister, Audrey, in June 2013. While staying with Nomia, Audrey died from a combination of poisoning and strangulation. Later that same month, another one of Nomia's relatives, this time her niece, Zanelle Motha, was found beaten to death. For the deaths of Audrey and...
How would... Listen, the first... They'd be like, hey, who should we go by getting? Noma? You want a Noma girl? Yeah. Look at her. She'd be like, why? She doesn't look like she'd do something like that. That doesn't mean she wouldn't do something like that. Look at her. Check her out. Make sure she's innocent.
Zanelle, Nomia received over $48,000 in payouts. A little over 2 years later, in October 2015, Nomia's partner and the father of her child, Maurice Mabasa, turned up stabbed to death, also in Olifantsfontein. She received over $7,500 as a result of policies she had taken out under his name. Tragedy struck yet again in April 2017 with the murder of her nephew, Maini Mashaba. He had just met up with Nomia the day before, and like witness and Maurice, his body was also found in Olifantsfontein.
How is she not the #1 suspect? You literally tell me she was one of the last 2 people to see him alive? After all of her other people have died? Come on.
The 6th person to die in Nomia's orbit would be the last. Her nephew and Audrey's son, Brilliant Mashego, was found dead in January 2018 in Bushbuckridge, a small town 5 hours to the east of Johannesburg. He had been seen with Nomia a mere 2 days before his body was discovered. So was Nomia Ndlovu profoundly unlucky, or was something more sinister at play?
Clearly more
Needless
sinister.
to say, authorities found this cluster of deaths quite suspicious.
And
in March 2018, it appeared that Nomia was prepared to lose more family members. She consulted with a couple of hitmen, driving them out to Bushbuckridge, where her sister Joyce and her 5 children lived. She wanted to hire the men to burn down Joyce's home with her and the kids inside. But what Nomia didn't realize was that she was being filmed. The 2 men were undercover officers, not hitmen at all, and she was arrested.
Fucking A. I always love these cases where undercover policemen pretend to be hitmen and they get the person on camera saying they want to do it. My always favorite is, I think there was, I try to remember who it was, but there was always one that literally was showing the entire footage and just went, not me, that's not me, I didn't do that. Which always made me laugh, because I'm like, how would you have the gall to say that when you're clearly on tape?
Later that same day.
When it comes Also, the mom should also see if she sleeps like a log. No, any DNA test will be conducted because they know who was sleeping in the house at the time of the fire.
Oh, push back, fish.
When a house burns, it can be an ex-boyfriend who set it alight. A fire can be caused by anything, even an electrical fault.
My ex-boyfriend, yeah, what she said.
Wow. Our says it's given to fire cases, but when it comes to guns and knives, those deaths they investigate. They assume you wanted to murder the person, and then it backfires when you need to kill. This is fucking unbelievable. Then the insurance companies don't pay. Will Bossy also pay for the children, or we'll pay for the children only for they can't be left behind since they don't be there too. And you'll spare no one will be leaving behind witnesses on the house point that everyone burned. Everything that's inside. Yes and no one has a no way whether it was a candle, a boyfriend, or something exploding in the house. This girl has got to be the definition of what evil is. This is insane in evilness. This girl killed her own family members without a single care, all just for money. She was willing to take the life of as many people as she can just for money. No other reason. Just for money. Like, that's unbelievable. Money ain't that important. I like money as much as the next guy. They're just not that important. Fanta! Back in hospital. Once I get news, I will get discharged, which I can stop paying for it, then I claim. Wow. I will claim
next week.
Next week, the money will be in by next week, probably by Friday. Holy shit.
As it's Friday.
It's estimated that Nomia snagged around $95,000 in insurance payments during her crime spree. During her trial, it was also revealed that Nomia attempted to murder her own mother, Maria Mshwana, conspired with a co-worker, Nomia Mudau, to kill Mudau's husband, and even tried to put a hit out on her former boss and the officer in charge of her investigation.
This girl is the... What the fuck's wrong with her? What the fuck's wrong with you, woman? You heartless bitch. You are the definition of a heartless bitch. There's no other way to describe you. You are as heartless as it gets. Pure evil. Pure evil.
Nomia usually preferred to execute her murders through hitmen, but it was revealed that she did murder her sister, Audrey, herself. Through it all, Nomia insists that she is innocent and that all the witnesses to her crimes are lying. It is suspected that the motivation for her crimes was primarily financial, and she was known at work as a heavy gambler who was frequently avoiding loan sharks.
Also, the fact that she could be filmed doing it and all that and still would say that everyone is lying, again, is unbelievable. How do people do that? I don't know how you could be on video and still say that you're innocent. I don't get it.
In 2021, Nomia Nlovu was sentenced to 6 life terms, one for each of the murders she orchestrated. She was also sentenced to an additional 5 years for obstruction of justice, 10 years for fraud, 10 years each for 7 counts of conspiring to commit murder, and a final 10 years for the attempted murder of her mother. In July 2022, she returned to court to face additional charges associated with her conspiracy to murder Madau's husband, as well as her former colleague, lead investigator Keshi Mubanda, and her former boss, Colonel Thipe Balaka. The matter was postponed until September. Currently, it is unknown what the outcome of these charges are.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this reaction video. Let me know what you think in the comments. Hit the like button, subscribe button. Thank y'all for watching. I'll see y'all for the next one.